Pokemon Scarlet and Violet have been out for a while now, and after multiple times beating each version, I needed to give myself a challenge to make sure that I kept the game fresh. So I thought, why not do a surprise trade playthrough? In this playthrough of Pokemon Scarlet, I'm going to allow surprise trades to determine my team. So here are the rules. Number 1, I can only catch one Pokemon per area. Number 2, the exception to this is if I encounter a shiny Pokemon. Number 3, Pokemon cannot be overleveled for the gym that I'm currently on. Number 4, no items can be used in battles to make it easier. So if I have bad type matchups, I have to figure out a different way to beat the gym outside of just overleveling. And number 5, once I catch a Pokemon in a zone, I must surprise trade it immediately without progressing in the game story any further. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into this playthrough. We start off selecting Sprigatito and of course naming it Ronin, because why not when I got this fluff ball around? We quickly take on Nemona, and because the new Pokemon games like to make your rivals literally the easiest thing in the world, I of course knock her out very quickly. Then Nemona takes me to catch our first Pokemon, and it's the one above Lord Arceus themselves. Yes, that's correct, Lord Lechonk. We send Little Piggy off to Nabil, and we get an amazing love disc. Well, not off to a great start here, but it's something. Next up, I send off Ronin to Jessie, and we get a Swablu, which I'm totally digging. We battle Nemona again, and this time it's a little bit more interesting, with Pokemon that don't want to behave because they don't have enough gym badges, but we will be on our way soon. Swablu quickly takes care of Nemona, so now it's off to complete the most fun parts of the game, with some of the best graphic animations seen on the Switch. Look at this 5 FPS on my classmate right here. I quickly wrap up the school disaster and head out to take on my first gym. On the way, we catch a Mareep, and I name it Wooly, because I am apparently naming my Pokemon after the features they have, I guess. With that, we send Wooly off to a better life and get a Mousehold in return, which is overleveled and not going to be much help here. We complete the Olive Royal going to the big gym, and I can finally take on Bugsy. Nope, Katie. I've beaten this game 3 times, and for the life of me, I could not remember this gym leader's name. Obviously, they left a lasting impression on me, huh? I quickly take down her Nimble with my Love Disc, but things don't go as smoothly with her Tarantula. Love Disc gets it almost down to half HP, but cannot muster enough to beat the bug Pokemon. I totally dropped the ball here and sent out an overleveled Pokemon, but I promise this is the only time I let that happen. Mousehold wipes out Tarantula and her Teddiursa, and now it's the part of the challenge that I didn't explain at the beginning. After every successful gym I beat, I also have to send these Pokemon off to surprise trade them, which means I might have to start over after every gym leveling my Pokemon up before I can take on another part of the game. I also have to do this immediately after beating the gym, and I cannot go and complete a Titan or a different part of the game without doing it. This comes back to bite me later on. You'll see. I send over Love Disc to L and got a pseudo-legendary Pokemon? Too bad this thing is overleveled and will have to sit in my box for a while. Next, I send my Swablu off to get a Snorunt. Okay, I like Glalie and Frostlass, but alas, this Pokemon is also overleveled. I'm starting to get a little worried at this point because I only have one more trade to get a usable Pokemon here, and it's my overleveled Mousehold. But thankfully, we get another Lechonk. Lord Arceus himself must be shining down on me again with this one. As I head over to the second gym to fight Brassius, I run into a Shinx in a new zone and claim it for my surprise trade. Now we gotta trade Sparky to fingers crossed get another usable Pokemon. And to my luck, we get an Eevee that we can both add to our team. I have to spend some time leveling up my Pokemon as they are both level 10 and we need to get them up to about level 17 to battle the gym and be successful. On the way to the gym, I decided to take out the Cloth Titan, which works my Eevee, but Lechonk ends up coming in clutch and is able to get the victory. Arvid then helps me with the next part of this, and we get our first sandwich to help out best boy Mabosif. Next up is the gym battle with Brassius, and I think this fight was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, because of the type matchups. The first battle I started with Lechonk in the lead, and totally got stomped on. The next run I switched it up and started with Eevee. I easily beat the first 2 Pokemon, but now we're back to Sudowoodo, the problem child. I start off with Baby Doll Eyes and hope that I'm able to get its attack down low enough for Lechonk. This also was a failure, but I think we're on the right path here using this method, so I try again and get lucky taking less damage on my way to fighting Sudowoodo. Because of this, I get 5 Baby Doll Eyes off, which sets up Lechonk in a great spot. Lechonk comes in and because of the lowered attack is able to take it home this time. After the battle, Lechonk wanted to evolve, but of course, we couldn't let that happen. It has to stay a Lechonk for whoever's lucky enough to get this god-tiered Pokemon. Now for the fun part, to see what I got in my surprise trades. Off I send Eevee to Francesca, and I got a level 1 Snover. At least I can use it, right? Now it's time to send off my pride and joy, Mr. Bacon. Off to a brand new trainer it went, and onto a great life. What could I get for my strongest Pokemon on my team? A level 1 Gothita, of course. So 2 level 1 Pokemon to start my journey off onto the 3rd gym and the next Titan. It was time to do a bunch of grinding to get my Pokemon high enough. I decided to head straight to Lavencia to see if I can catch a Pokemon to trade and possibly get something that I can help me level up my little baby Pokemon. So I snag a Choodle and throw it up for surprise trade. I definitely got something that I could use to train up all of my Pokemon. Once I had all 8 badges, a level 75 pseudo legendary Salamence. Well, at least I'm stacking up my pseudo legendary Pokemon for endgame. With that, I needed to try to find a route that I could level up my Pokemon and hopefully catch another one to try again. So I decided to head over to West Province 1 and see what we could do there. After some intense leveling, I catched a Skidoo to trade. And to my surprise, I got a Tarantula that was totally usable. I'm actually really excited about this because I really have liked the design of this Pokemon, but probably wouldn't have used it in a playthrough without being forced to. So, silver linings, I guess? Now it was time to train up my team again, to try and take on the 2nd Titan right before we went to go take on Iono. Once I finally felt good about my team, I went up to take on Bombardier. But, for some reason completely forgot this bird is a dark type, so I led with Gothita. That pretty much doomed my first attempt. But I came immediately back with Snover, while having the weakness with grass, was still able to do enough damage with ice moves to annihilate this Pokemon. Best boy Mabosif gets his 2nd sandwich, and it's finally starting to feel better. Seriously, this story gets me every time. It might be the best story that we've ever gotten in a Pokemon game. I was feeling really good about my team at this point, so it was time to gear up to take on the streamer, Iono. I forgot that at the 3rd gym you take on, you have to battle Nemona again. And this fight almost took me out. Luckily, I was able to hold on with Snover before losing, because her Quaxwell would have definitely beat me with another wing attack. Now, it was on to Iono. I forgot that she leads with Wattrel, so that ended badly for Spidops. Needless to say, I lost the first round pretty badly. So I decided to come back with a different strategy, and it worked really well, until Miss Magius. It totally wiped the floor with me once I hit that Pokemon, which makes me think I might need to try and add an additional Pokemon to my team before we take her on again. I went north of Lavencia and caught a Makuhita, which I named Naruto, and sent it off immediately in a surprise trade. I was pretty excited when I saw the Pokemon coming back, until I noticed that it was level 75. A level 75 Ditto. Just my luck. Since I was close to it, I decided to take on the 3rd Titan, since I thought I also had a strong team to do so. It turns out that was wrong. After 1, 2, 3 losses, I finally got lucky. You know what they say, 4th time's the charm. I then went down to fight this thing with Arven so we can help good boy Mabosif get better. And Gothita absolutely ripped through this thing with Toadskool. Except this thing didn't want to die. It survived with just a sliver of life left and promptly took out my Gothita. Luckily, Arven saved the day by knocking it out in the next hit. My issue is still not solved though. How on earth can I beat Iono? My 3 Pokemon were high enough that I couldn't level them up anymore. But just for funsies, I decided to give it another try without changing up my Pokemon lineup at all. And somehow, some way, Iono missed just enough moves to allow me to get to her last Pokemon, Miss Magius, with the best HP I had ever gotten to her with. And Spidops came in like the mythological spider it was and absolutely bodied Miss Magius and allowed me to finally beat Iono. Now it was my favorite part. Time to trade away some of my mons to see what else we can get. I start with a Gothita and see that I'm getting a Palmy, which has me super excited to have a mon that is usable in my journey. It's level 9, so I have to do some leveling again, but it's at least usable. Next, I trade the MVP from the last gym battle. Itsy Bitsy Spider absolutely carried the last game, so I cannot wait to see what I get. And then I see a shiny Charizard, my favorite Pokemon. I was super excited, but I had to check to see if this was too good to be true, and it was. Of course it was. Why would someone trade me a legit shiny Charizard? Next, I traded my Snover and got another Pokemon I was super excited about, Goomy, another pseudo-legendary Pokemon. What is going on with this team? I have 3, maybe 4 pseudos in my box now. Unfortunately, this one continues the trend of being absolutely unusable for me because it is too strong. I now have to do the correct thing to do with my computer generated shiny and release it into the wild so no one else gets this. Boy, this set me up with an amazing 1 Pokemon to use in my next gym challenge battle. What a great time to be alive, eh, little Palmy? Well, at least it's the water gym and It's an electric Pokemon, right? Now it was time to do my regular training regime after a gym. I leveled up Palmo and tried to also at the same time evolve it because I knew it was going to take everything I had to beat Kofu at the next gym. But try as I might, this damn thing didn't want to evolve. I ran around like a chicken with my head cut off with it out for over an hour and still couldn't get it to evolve. It made no sense. I even let it run in circles or straight for 22 minutes and then do a battle. And it never went away into its Pokeball. Nothing. So I decided to try to find a rare candy and use it to level it up. Off to Casacarafa. That's totally how you pronounce it. But I took a detour into the Asado Desert to try and catch another Pokemon to add to my team. I caught a Capsakid and traded it off to get a Charmander. This time, this one was legit. Unfortunately not shiny, but you know, at least it was my favorite Pokemon. Somehow I was running around to find a rare candy for my Palmo. It evolved. My Palmo evolved into Palmot. I don't even think it was out. It just leveled up and evolved. I was completely confused and super pumped about the several hours I had spent earlier trying to get this thing to evolve. Heading down to Porto Marinado for the gym challenge, I caught a Mastiff, which I traded off and got a Cufant. Things were looking up. I was feeling really good about my team, Cufant, Charmeleon, and Palmot. Essentially, I just needed to get through Voluza, and I knew I could win. So I was hoping with these three, I could do so. After I completed the challenge, I went back to the gym. Leading with Cufant to attack, Cufant got a couple of hits in and brought down Voluza to about 1/4 of its HP. Charmeleon up next brought it down to another 1/4 of its HP. And now it was time for Palmot to shine. I threw out my mouse Pokemon and Terrasilize, then went in with Thundershock. I wiped out Voluza, then one-shotted Wugtrio. Now, I just needed to beat the ugliest crab known to man. Thundershock hits it for about 50% HP, and then it gets off a Crab Hammer, which does a lot of damage. As long as I didn't miss it though, I should be able to beat this gym in one go-round. I hastily smashed A to see if we'd be victorious for the first time on a one-and-done gym. And by Lord Arceus' grace, we connected. The first gym I'd beaten in a first go-around so far. What a ride that was. Now, the fun part, trading off my Pokemon. Luckily, because of my level, it means I can now use Gumi, so I had to add it to my party and send off my other mons. First up, Cufant. I was nervous that it was going to get a bunch of high-level Pokemon again and be down to one Pokemon again, only having Gumi. But Surprise Trade does wonders and get my favorite grass starter, Rowlet. Now it's time to say goodbye to Charmeleon. I was really hoping to get something great with this one, and we get a Tauros, which is going to be super helpful for Larry's gym, so a solid add to my team. And now it was time to trade my ace, my hard-to-level little Pikachu clone. I was feeling something special for this one, and to my surprise, Hisui and Zorua. I was super excited about the team I got. It ranges now from level 1 to 35, but that's nothing some grinding up can't fix. Cue the battle music. Now that I finally was at the appropriate level, it was time to knock out Great Tusk, the Earth Titan. And with Decidueye and Tauros, this was an easy wrap. The Donphan that needs its tusk trimmed couldn't handle the smoke. It was now time to start wiping out some of the other Team Star bases before we get a reset again on our team. I finally had enough Pokemon to take on one of these at a decent level, as well as not getting a single typing to get absolutely housed by the majority of them. First, I went to the Dark Team Star base, and because of my level, I was able to slam through Yakumo. This was honestly way easier than I remember him being in my previous playthroughs, but maybe it's because Decidueye is a boss. Now, it was time to go fight Mela, the Fire Team base. Mela's base fell just as quickly. The walk that Mela has is absolutely ridiculous. Does she not have knees? I don't know, she's walking like an ostrich. Now, it was time to take on the most relatable gym leader in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. That's right, Larry. First I went and caught a Fidough since this was a new area, and surprise traded hoping for a 5th Pokemon to add to my team. Unfortunately, I got a high-level Iron Jugulis. That might be useful down the road as we keep getting farther into the game, but for now, it was time to take Larry down with the team that I already had. One thing I guess I just never paid attention to, where do the people go in the middle of the stage flips? Do they just flip with it? Bye, Felicia! I jumped in to fight Larry, and after guessing the correct food dish, led with Zoroark, thinking that it would be a good move because of its ghost typing. Little did I plan for Sucker Punch because that wiped out Zoroark faster than Larry wipes out most teams with the Staraptor. I quickly switched to Tauros, and after Terrasilizing, was able to crush them with Raging Bull. Now I spoke about Staraptor a second ago, and this was not a fun fight for Tauros. I was able to get a couple Raging Bulls in, but eventually went down to Aerial Ace. After that, I sent out my trusty Decidueye, and even after getting hit with Aerial Ace, I was able to get a Razor Leaf off and take down poor old Larry's ace in the hole. Just out here ending the career of the most overworked trainer we've ever seen in a Pokemon game. Once we got out, I had to immediately take on Nemona, so I went to work. Zoroark also got owned by this mon, so I sent out Tardos, and after wiping out all of her mons, Tardos fell to Quackavolt. This was again an easy dub with the Decidueye, and one of the reasons it's my favorite grass starter. It was going to be tough to see this Pokemon leave after we traded it. With Nemona out of the way, I had to start trading my team again. First, I traded my Pokemon who, even though I love it and its typing, literally couldn't defeat a single mon before getting traded. RIP Zoroark, but luckily I got another walking Pokemon evolution with Whirlar. Hip, hip, hooray! Next, I traded my ace Decidueye, and we got another Charmander? Let's go! I'll take that. Now we have a chance to actually get Charizard. Now I traded my other super strong Pokemon and got a Samurott that is actually high enough to be helpful? How did this happen? Lord Arceus is truly watching on this playthrough, that's for sure. Except for one thing. It was a hacked Pokemon. Because of this, I had to release it. And now to trade Gumi, which I didn't get much use out of, unfortunately. But now, with the 4th pick in the 2023 Pokemon Draft, Fipsymon selects Igglybuff! Oh boy. Well, let's get this Wigglytuff, and then we should be in a good position with it. Now to release Samurott and get on to some leveling. Once I was high enough level on my Pokemon, I went to Tagtree Thicket, where I got to catch another Pokemon, so I snagged an Impidimp. I traded it off, and lo and behold, another Luvdisc for this run, albeit much higher than the one that we had previously. I put Luvdisc on my team and went into the Team Star base. After romping the team using the Let's Go feature, I finally had a chance to fight the boss, and this fight was a lot harder than I thought. I lost Muck and Glalie, but my boy Charizard was able to get down to business and wrap up another Team Star base. Now it was time to go take on the Ghost Gym. This gym is different from the previous ones because of the doubles battle, but I felt ready to succeed in these with my team. Unfortunately for me, it looks like Rhyme schooled me in this rap battle because Toxtricity proved to be too much on my first go-through. On my second run, I changed Muck for Wigglytuff and was able to make all the difference. Charizard and Wigglytuff were basically able to bring the whole team down by themselves, but Glalie and Muck were also used. Toxtricity was able to be knocked out before the train buffed its C-Punch too much. With the 6th gym out of the way, I could now rinse and repeat what I've been doing. You probably get it at this point. That's right, we're gonna trade all the Pokemon away. For Luvdisc, I got Ursaring that was usable. Off to a great start. Wigglytuff, I got a Misdreavus. Glalie, I got a shiny Ditto, but it was another computer-generated Pokemon. For Muck, I got Sprigatito back, my starter Pokemon. In Rellor, I got a Ralts. Now it was time to trade my ace in the hole, Charizard. And I got a Fuecoco? 2 starters? I don't think that I've made it to a gym badge without having a starter, have I? Also, goodbye Ditto. Now that everyone was leveled up, it was time to take on Ortega. My team wasn't really geared to be strong against this particular gym, but I was excited to knock this one out of the way. Ortega smashed through Meowscarada, Misdreavus, and Ursaring pretty quickly, which left me with Gardevoir and Skeledirge. Luckily, Gardevoir with Draining Kiss was able to get me all the way to the finish line before getting knocked out. Then it was Skeledirge's time to shine. Torch Song ripped through Revavroom like a hot knife through butter, and I was able to knock out this mon and claim my 4th Team Star boss badge. Next up, I figured I would knock out the Guardian to wrap up that storyline before going on to the next gym. The False Dragon, Mr. Sushi Boy, with Meowscarada? This fight was simple. Doing this before the next gym was definitely the play. Between Little Green Catboy and Gardevoir, I was able to knock out the Titan lickety-split. Next up was Tulip, the 7th gym leader, and her Psychic-type Pokemon. My party was set pretty well to take this gym out because of Spriggy and Fuecroc. However, the Gardevoir that she has knocked out my Meowscarada and my Ursaring. Is Ursaring just bad? I feel like I never use this Pokemon, and this is maybe why. I sent out my Gardevoir to battle, and it knocked out the Espathra before getting knocked out by Florges. Now, it was Skeledirge's time to shine again, and it came in with Shadow Ball and knocked out the Florges with no problem. That wraps the 7th gym. I quickly went to catch a Banette, which I named Ghostface, and traded 6 Pokemon away to see what I got. First up, I traded Ursaring because it did the least on this team, and I got a Pyroar, which will be awesome for the next gym since it's ice. Next, I traded off Misdreavus and got a level 1 Flabebe. Well, I'll need to grind this one up. Now it's time to trade my newest mon, Ghostface, and I got a Murkrow, which was also usable. Next up, Gardevoir, I got a Flittle, and for Fuecroc, I got Magnemite. And for our last mon, Grass Catboy, we got a Cyclizar. This was the first time we've ever had all 6 Pokemon usable in a surprise trade. What a surprise, huh? And also the first time in a while we haven't had a starter Pokemon on our team, which was a hodgepodge of mons, but it was time to see what we could do with these. I leveled up my Pokemon as quickly as possible and decided that I was going to try and take on Airy before I tried to battle Grusha. After 1, 2, 4 losses and trying multiple strategies, I changed my mind. I went to Grusha and figured out my strategy to use Cyclizar as a substitute mon and battle with Pyroar would work well. Well, it didn't go like that. Pyroar beat Grusha's first mon, but then Beartic used Earthquake and wiped out my Pokemon. Luckily, Espathra came in and tore down Beartic and Titan. Now it was a battle of the birdies. I hit a Luminous Crash and Altaria hit her Hurricane, nearly wiping out Espathra. But Espathra outsped the Dragon Pokemon that's a Cloud, and I was able to be victorious. All this meant now was I had to level up a team to battle Area again before taking on the Elite Four. For Cyclizar, I got Scatterbug, which is not what I was hoping for, but for Honchkrow, I was able to get a Cyndaquil, which I was super pumped to get. For Espathra, which I was sad to see leave, I got Squawkabilly, probably the most underwhelming regional bird introduced yet. Pyroar, I got Rookie D, which I absolutely love. Magnezone, I got a Magnemite. Really? A Magnemite? How does that happen? The odds are super low, but that's hilarious. And for my last Pokemon, Florges, we got Frogadier, which is absolutely one of my favorite Pokemon in this game. I was not upset about this team at all. I decided to leave Squawkabilly in the box and use Drippy in the place of it, since I already had a regional bird with Corviknight. And now it was time to level up my final Pokemon team. This time fighting Area with my new team was much easier, and that was the end of the Team Star bases. Pavilion, which I was surprised, actually was the one that took on most of this base. And then I finished with Dragapult. Now it was time to take on the Elite Four. First up, Rika. I was able to absolutely pounce on their team with Greninja. Secondly, Poppy. She gave me no issues with Typhlosion. Thirdly, Larry, the most overworked gym trainer ever. I was able to absolutely crush with Magnezone. And Hassel, the Dragon Elite Four member, between Greninja and Dragapult, I was able to completely wipe the floor with his team. Now, it was time to face the trainer with the best hairstyle in all of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Are you kidding me, Pokemon Company? You did not know how to layer hair in this game or something? It's literally atrocious. With Greta, I led with Typhlosion and was able to make it all the way to Veluza before Veluza knocked out my fire Pokemon. I then switched to Magnezone, which I was able to handle Veluza and Go-Goat surprisingly, which I wasn't expecting. Unfortunately, Glomora spelt the end for Magnezone. And finally, I threw out my Greninja, and with Water Shuriken and Loaded Dice, I was able to chop through her final Pokemon, which should have not been her final Pokemon at all, very easily. Why is it Poison Spite's Pokemon last? Use King Gambit as your ace, Greta. Come on, maybe then you would have actually been a challenge. And with that, I've completed this entire surprise trade playthrough for the Elite Four. If y'all are still watching, let me know which Pokemon you think is the MVP of any of my surprise trade teams in this playthrough. Also, it took me 36 hours to play through this and another 10 hours to edit it. So I have about 50 hours into this playthrough. So if you wouldn't mind dropping a like, comment, and a sub, it would be very much appreciated. Let me know which challenge you'd like me to tackle next. And with that, we'll catch you in the next video.